with the problem sets, I think I've been doing it for one semester so far. It's been fun last semester, so I've done it already once last semester with the ChatGPT forum. This semester, there's a new version of ChatGPT, ChatGPT o1. So I'm gonna try doing that again. So let me get test student in the right setting. How do I do it? Let me go to problem set 2. And then I'm going to turn into test student, and it'll probably tell me that yeah, all this stuff. I still need to view this page, so let me go do that. And then I think there's still a few more module requirements for me to clear. I may need to go back to my instructor role for that. So this is all done. And this I can skip it. I can view, yeah, and these scores. I need to go in as an instructor and excuse test student out of those two. I mean, I could score it. I think we have enough time, so let me do that. This time, I'm not gonna really explain anything. I'll just basically do what I think my worst student can do. Worst student in the sense, it's the kind of students that instructors hate. Students who know everything, they don't need to learn anything from you, but you still have to give them an A because they do know all the content. That's a test student, my alter ego. Terrible student, doesn't do anything that he feels he doesn't have to, but he knows physics as well as I do because he's me. So that my worst student, what he would do, would never watch any of these videos, simply skip to the questions and answer them. So velocity is that, acceleration most accurate, yeah, that probably. I'm going fast, so I might miss some questions from time to time. We'll see. How you feel motion, velocity. Changes, I think. Yeah. Good. All right. I'll get 100%. I don't have to, but let's just get 100% because that's the kind of thing a cocky, worst student would do. Throw motion. In first in there, then so this is where you actually have to watch the video. I've already watched it. I actually know what's in it, so I don't have to watch it. So it's this one. It's for this scenario. Oh yeah, same question but with the different graphs. Compare velocity graph. Slope of slopes are not equal to each other. Nope. The position time graph. I think this one. Good. Let me skip to the next section. Velocity versus constant time. I indicate constant velocity. Wait, zero acceleration. Jumps from 0 to a positive value in the other. That jump tells you have infinite acceleration at that instant. Simplified piecewise. Deviate from vehicles. Yeah, probably that. Again, I'm going fast, so if I miss a question here or there, that's my excuse that I'm going really faster than I should be going, even as a worst student. What does we know this initial velocity? That's that area represents acceleration, so change in velocity. Good. And this will also give me a kind of benchmark. If there's another student in class, a real student who's like a test student, what's the realistic amount of time they would spend to complete this? Emphasizes in free fall, only and only if that. Yeah. And I think I've mentioned this Google form. Again, you don't have to do it, but I do really would like feedback, especially if you have suggestions for improvement. Like if you don't have any suggestion for improvement, then great. You don't have to do anything. All right, so that's done. Nah, I can do lecture 3. By the way, after this week, I won't have to do this anymore. So in week 3, you are going to see loosening of this module requirement. So this week is really the only week I have to do this. If I had to do this every week, I wouldn't do it because it's frankly a waste of time. But but because as a test student, I can just skip this stuff in the future weeks. That's why this week I'm doing it. So when approaching Monday, recommend probably this. Yeah, that sounds about right. Again, I'm going really fast, so if I miss it, that's my excuse that I'm going really fast. Because all right, skip. Um, being independent means yeah that. First analyzing a project step comes first. Free body diagram, we haven't, we are not doing forces yet. Probably this, I think. That sounds right. At least that's what I remember from writing this question, or having ChatGPT write it and then reviewing it and changing some of the choices when I want to. Which of the following best summarize process? Maybe. Let me read the other choices. Um, Yeah, I think this is wrong. Mainly because you should not be using energy conservation at this point. We haven't covered it. Uh, A, B, C, D, yeah. So one is another greatest acceleration. Yeah, probably that. If I missed anything again, I'm going too fast. They're gonna be my evergreen excuse for missing anything. It's not that I didn't know physics, it's that I was going too fast. Uh, Retain, yeah. Analyze motion when it rotate frame. Maybe. I think. Yeah. Good. All right. Hi. Oh, this is the backward question, right? I think. Or no. Sorry. The question is convolutedly written. High initial speed, which is true about the time to land compared to level ground case at the same speed and angle. The time is longer? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's right. In the video, tricky problem, main takeaway. I think of that maybe. Good. All right. So that's, I think, a full questions. So it thinks I only have 8 points, but that's fine. It's enough to clear the requirement. And now I can finally get through this and get to problem set 2, which is the real demo that I want you to do as test student. And demonstrating not doing questions as an arrogant worst student who knows all the physics and is gonna get an A whether I like it or not. But as someone who's working through the course material in earnest, and as you're doing that, let's say you are having some difficulties. And I do have homework help videos. I do recommend that you look at it and maybe make a use of it. But technology being what it is, I think ChatGPT can be really useful in helping you work through these questions. And I've demonstrated this last week. And let me repeat this cautionary note from last week. When you're using ChatGPT to help you work through problem sets, you really have to avoid doing something like this. If you simply give it a question, it's not going to be a good tutor for you. It'll just work out the entire problem for you and will just give you the answer. It'll probably do it correctly. Let's watch and see. Whatever answer it gives me, I'm just going to plug it in. Let's see if it's correct. I'll turn off my physics brain for a bit. And this is the thing that I'm telling you not to do. This won't help you learn physics. Doesn't mean actually gives me something. Might get stuck. Oh, maybe it's just stuck. I don't know. Usually something will pop up. I could use ChatGPT for all, but that feels like defeat. This is another issue with using an outside tool like ChatGPT. Sometimes it crashes. It's not available. Um, let that run on its own. I'm gonna just open another session, and in this session, I'm gonna use Foro, which will probably work fine on its own. This is a demonstration of something that you are not supposed to be doing anyway. And Foro was already answering these questions fine before, so I think if I do this, it'll give me an answer, and it'll probably be correct. And what I have to tell you is that you shouldn't do this. So if you don't take sufficient care when you're using ChatGPT, something like what you just observed might happen. And you might think, oh, that's great. I can work through this problem set even faster than my instructor can. Yeah, if that's your goal, sure. But if you're trying to get an A or B in this class, that will not get you A or B. Because for an A or B, what you need is you have to know how to do these questions yourself in the required one-on-one meeting. Remember, everything you do, all the written work you do is practice for the required one-on-one meeting. So, really, you have to take care when you are using ChatGPT. If you are using ChatGPT, finally finished. And yeah, I don't know why it took so long. Yeah, minute and 10 seconds. So, what you have to, the precautionary step that you have to take is because ChatGPT's default is really to be bend over backward for you. And I think a lot of the human preconditioning people, they tend to favor these long answers that get to the point right away. So that's what ChatGPT is biased to produce for you. So you have to tell it explicitly that you don't want that. You actually want it to teach you. So let me give it the message again. I did it last time, but it seems to forget it from session to session. So I'm gonna repeat it every session. So I'll say, oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. I'm working through these problem sets as a practice for an oral exam, which is really what the one-on-one required meeting is, with my professor, where he'll be asking me these questions. I really need to learn how to answer these questions myself. And if you just give me the answer right away, I won't learn. I know enough from experience. Talk about myself. But it probably applies to most people. For the next, for all the remaining questions, please don't give me the answer right away. Ask me what I have done so far and just help me with the step I'm currently stuck on. I really need to learn the problem solving myself. I don't know. That's a little over dramatic, but so let me test the ChatGPT on the next one. So I'll give it this question and just test it to make sure it doesn't give me the answer right away. And oh, I can actually ask ChatGPT a question I got from one of your classmates because it's a matter of question reading, and I can tell it what I'm confused about. So yeah, so oh yeah, it's asking this because it doesn't know that we haven't covered energy yet. So. I think I'm supposed to use kinematics equations, but I'm a little confused because it feels like I'm not given enough information. Should I need to know how high the ball is starting up so that I can figure out how high above the floor it rises. Um, yeah. So this question can come from two potential misreading. You could be misreading that the question is about the ball. It's not. It's about the basketball player. And two, in your mental image, you might be thinking of like the player starting from the ground to the where the ball is, like a point mass. But players kind of has their own height. So if you make some simplifying assumptions about their height, then they only need to. This is like the change in height. Then let's read what ChatGPT. Yeah, it can be a bit confusing because the question only focus on how high the player needs to rise, not the actual motion of the toss the ball. That's great. The idea is simply what launch speed will carry the player's body this much above the floor, the change in height. Yeah, this is a great answer. That's the same answer I would give if I myself didn't misread the question in reading it too fast. A helpful hint is to think about which kinematics equation links the initial velocity, the vertical displacement, and the fact that the player is momentarily at rest at the top of the jump. So the final velocity, yeah. So this is a good hint. And if you remember V squared formula, that's great. Let me just take a little bit of a longer route as a kind of illustration of how a problem solving process with a capable virtual tutor like a ChatGPT might be. So I might write down this very common kinematics equation. I might even use the letter y instead of x. So I'll say y of t is equal to my initial y height plus initial y velocity times time minus 1/2. I'm doing projectile motion, gt squared. And I'll use a screenshot because this is really the capability of ChatGPT that I really like. The fact that it can interpret your work from the from images, so you don't necessarily have to type things out if you're not used to typing out mathematical expressions. I wrote down the kinematics equation I've used in other questions, but I'm confused because I don't know the time. I think y naught is equal to 0. I'm only looking for change in height, and I am solving for v naught y, so it's okay that I don't know it. But I don't know yt. Is it 0? You might have seen it be 0 in other times. Here it's not actually. And I don't know t. So ChatGPT will have this image and then my question. And let's see if it'll give me the v squared formula right away, which is one way. It's the quickest way to solve this. Or walk me through how to use this. So there needs to be an intermediate step of finding t. If you write down the formula for the velocity, then yeah, okay. The ChatGPT is giving me v squared formula. Yeah. 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 All right. So we'll do that. I think we can use Sage Math. So let me do this as a demo. So using Sage Math, this is how you would answer this question. So you are given the equation. So my equation 1 is v squared is equal to, this is the assignment symbol, this is the equality operator, the Boolean comparison thing. V naught squared plus 2 times 8 times y minus y naught. You have to express multiplications explicitly because Sage method doesn't understand the implicit multiplication. And I need to, is it vars or var? I forget. It's probably vars or var. Maybe var. If I'm wrong, I'll get an error message and I can work through it. I have to declare all the symbols I'm using. So let me declare all the symbols. It's equation. And I say solve equation 1 for V naught. Well, let's see what it says. If I let me just copy this into clipboard in case something goes wrong. Evaluate. So that's probably right. So let me and here's the amazing thing about ChatGPT. It knows a bunch of different languages. So it'll be able to give me feedback on my Sage Math thing. So I can paste this in and ask, okay, I took the equation you gave me and I'm using Sage Math to do the algebra. How does this look? I think it's gonna be able to tell me that it looks right. That looks good. You're seeing two solutions. Yeah, and it's commenting on those two solutions. In a physical context, yeah, take the positive root. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if he can coach me. So, I'm told that there's a Sage method syntax to automate plugging in numbers, but I'm not sure how. Can you tell me? It's a substitution syntax. And I think it should even be able to give me some code suggestion on how to use. So yeah, substitution syntax. Do that. You might do something like this in Sage. Equation subs. Do that. Yeah, I guess you can do it that way. Let me do it this way. I want to keep a version of the solution in algebraic for, can you tell me the code for plugging in numbers in the solution, not the equation? It might not be able to give me correct code. You have to kind of work through the nested list. That scenario can be challenging for ChatGPT to work through, maybe. We'll see. Solution for that. Yeah, that's the same thing I have done. Oh, let's see. Did it get, well, how does it know which one? I think it's correctly predicting which will be positive solution. And then expression that, yeah. That's a little bit longer step than what I would have done, but that's actually totally doable. We're not positive solution. So put this into solve. Solution is so 1. V naught expression is V naught positive solution right hand side, and V naught substitute. So if we simply omit this and do this, it'll print out your last value. Minus 9.8, y 1.15, y naught. Yeah, 4.75. Let's plug it in and see. Now, here, even in this scenario, I didn't do a lot of work myself. So it's still not what I think would be the best use of these digital tools. But I think this is an improvement over what was done in question 1. In question 1, someone who's done what I did here, way up there, they're not going to remember all this at all. like there's practically zero chance of someone remembering all this like a 1 week after having done this. But here where you've had more chance to kind of think through, interact, you thought of one equation, but ChatGPT suggested another one. So you might at least remember that there's the existence of this equation that has no dependence on time. Maybe you don't remember the exact form, but you at least remember that there's something you can look up. That's not the most common kinematics equation. And you've given it some of your attempt using Sage Math on your own, and then you learned a little bit more about coding. So even though I would still say, okay, that might not be the most ideal, think that, but I would still prefer this version of interaction with ChatGPT over one where you put no thought into that at all. So. Okay, so we have 50 minutes. Let's find a fairly substantial projectile motion question and try working through that. I think it's probably in the second half. Yeah, so this is fairly substantial. Let me see if there's a harder one. And go for the harder one there. The basketball one is probably the hardest one. Both of these involve projectile launched horizontally, so at least in my head, I think they are a little bit easier for that reason. So let me do this one. So I'll say, all right, I got it. Thank you. This is the next. I think I can afford to waste interaction. I think the count of interactions ran out. I mean, reset today, so I should have practically unlimited for this session. So I'll say, okay. Okay, so this is the next question, and I'm told that this is a multi-step projectile motion question. And I'm just testing ChatGPT to see if it'll not give me answers right away. It shouldn't. And if I think if you're kind of actually using it, you should give it an attempt on your own. Your first thing shouldn't be to ask a ChatGPT. Shouldn't be to kind of think through. All right, this is the setup. What should I do? Okay, let's look at what ChatGPT suggests. Class 2D projectile motion. Yeah, resolve motion. Use the conditions given. Could you tell me how you are setting up your, yeah. ChatGPT will have a little bit of a bias in focusing on equations, algebraic stuff. It won't tell you to sketch drawings because ChatGPT itself can't draw any drawings. But I'm a human being. I know I have hands to draw drawings with, so I'm gonna just draw a sketch of the setup. I like to doodle whenever I have a new physics question, because it's the act of doodling. In the process of that, it helps me think about the given information in the setup and kind of make sure that I didn't forget anything. So maybe I might have been thinking to draw it like this is like on the ground. But as I think about basketball player shooting the ball and reading the question again, a basketball player shoots towards a basket. Let's actually write this. 4.8 meter away, so I have some distance. Let's say D away, and some height above the floor. So I'm drawing a hoop here. If the ball is released, and as I read this, I realize, there's some sort of initial height above the floor at an angle 60 degrees. So doodling, just putting the given information into a sketchy form, it kind of gives me a sense of that I understood the question correctly. And oftentimes, as I look at a drawing like this, I can get a sense of, hey, does it look like I'm looking at the wrong pen? Ah, vanishing pen. I wanted a highlighter. I can look at this drawing and think for myself, hey, does this look like a complete setup? As in, with all this information that's given, do I feel like the future of this ball is all predetermined? Like I know how it's going to go, and either it'll miss the hoop or it'll go into the hoop. Now, it might feel like we have some parameter of this final angle which could complicate the matter. If you're a basketball player, sometimes you shoot and you hit the rim. And this is where you have to make a bit of a simplifying assumption. I think you have to make the simplifying assumption that as long as the ball hits this bullseye, that regardless of the angle its trajectory is in, it's just gonna go through. Otherwise, I think this angle is something that can complicate the matters. So let me share this with the ChatGPT. That I'll just start with some intro that. Okay. My instructor recommends that I doodle before I start writing down equations. So this is the sketch of the setup I drew. How does it look? And usually it's been able to interpret drawings fine. Let's see. I know I've said ChatGPT is like a blind tutor, but it's a blind tutor attached to someone who can see and describe drawings. This looks great. You have a clear picture. They just can't draw anything themselves. So next step is to label. Yeah, I can do that. I don't want to, because I'm gonna stick with algebraic expressions. Let's get that. Label in space, write down the equations for x of t and y of t. Okay, he might have posted. Oh, I can just. So let me write down a version that's overly general and won't quite advance my solution step. So I could just write down this overly general kinematics equations. X of t is initial position plus initial velocity plus 1/2 axt squared, and y of t, let's plug in minus g so that at least we are, making it look like we are putting in some effort. Minus 1/2 gt squared. But for projectile motion, you really should be zeroing out this x component of acceleration. But let's see what ChatGPT says. All right, I got these from the textbook. And I hope it'll tell me what to simplify. One, it'll recognize which portion is the question, which portion is the equation, and then it'll tell me keys to split. Oh yeah, initial velocity. Yeah, that's a great advice. I haven't done it yet, but this is one of the first steps you'll be taking when you are doing projectile motion. So you should say v naught x is equal to v naught cosine 60 degrees. V naught y is v naught sine of 60 degrees. That's correct as far as it goes. There's no horizontal acceleration. Yeah, that's great simplification. You do that. From that, you can solve for time. It takes the ball to travel horizontally. Oh, all right. That's a little bit of a different step than what I would have done, but that's fine. I think I'm in a habit of always solving for time out of the vertical equations. But here, there's no difference. You got both. Both involve time. So, yeah. So I'll say, all right, I think I can do that. One question though, because I think I've been if I haven't been cautioning you yet, I should be cautioning you soon in the lectures that you shouldn't automatically associate x with the cosine and y the sine. Because sometimes they will be right. They are right here. And there will be times when they are wrong. So I'll say one question though, my instructor keeps telling me don't automatically associate x with the cosine and y with the sine. As how do I know v naught x is equal to v naught cos 60 degree is right and it shouldn't instead be v naught x is equal to v naught times sine 60 degree. Like, how do I know that? And this is one kind of the situations where I think a virtual tutor, like a ChatGPT, can be wonderful because it's the kind of question that if you're just watching the homework help video and you have that question and the video doesn't address it because I have to keep the videos at a reasonable length. I don't address every imaginable questions. It's the kind of question that you can ask a ChatGPT, and oftentimes it'll answer perfectly. Let's read its answer and let's see if it's correct. That's a great question. Which trig function goes with which component depending on how the angle is measured? Yeah, that's an important part. Most projectile motion problems, yeah, above horizontal means sketch the velocity vector. Theta is as drawn here. And the adjacent side is the horizontal component, and the opposite side is the vertical component. So if you drew this triangle, then you can see clearly that your x component is the adjacent side, so cosine. Y component is the opposite side, so sine. If instead the angle has been measured from vertical axis, then you would flip them. Yeah, and that's a now, I don't give this as a general rule because sometimes you have situations with the tilted axis, and really the general advice I give is always draw the triangle. Then you can label the angle, kind of reading the descriptions carefully, and you are much less likely to make mistakes if you draw the triangle every single time. Yeah, so it's not that, it's whichever side of the adjacent cosine. Yeah, great. I think I can do the rest. Let me try it in Sage Math. And I'm hoping that it won't just give me all the steps in Sage Math. I'll just work it out myself. Yeah, that's great. That's I think I have, so I can use that. So it's given me some of the equations. So let's start just writing down those equations. Equation x is equal to x naught plus v naught. Yeah, let's keep it as v naught x times t. Equation y is, oops, I did something wrong. X of t. So let me call that x final is equal to, yeah, that's my equation for the x component. Y final is y naught plus v naught y times t minus 1/2 times g times t squared. And let me define the variables that I need. X final, x initial, v naught x, t, y final, y initial, v naught y, g. I think that's everything. So I think I have two equations, two unknowns. I should be able to just solve it. Equation x. I have to. Let me try this. So I'm making a syntax error right now. And I'm solving for. Let's make sure. So x final and y final are given, so I don't need that. I need the initial speed. So I think let me simplify this a little bit. I'll say v naught times cosine of theta. I don't want to overload the ChatGPT with the multiple mistakes. So I'll just make one mistake at a time. So theta is a known quantity, it's fine. I'm solving for V naught. And whenever you're solving system of equations, you have to identify all your unknowns. So even though you don't care about it, you do need to identify T as an unknown. Then in your equations, everything else is known. ChatGPT, SageMath will give me solution for V naught and T, and I ignore the solution for T, just get the solution for V naught. Now, when I hit evaluate, I'll get an error because I made a syntax error. And let me see if I can ask ChatGPT about that syntax error. So, you get this. Wow, that's long. Can I do a long screenshot? Let me see if I can do a long screenshot. It's possible I can't do a long screenshot. I'll just take as much of the screenshot as I can. I ran into a problem. I'm so dumb. Let's see what ChatGPT will say. I'm hoping it'll start with some encouraging words because it usually does that, but we'll see. That's the reason I'm saying I'm so dumb. And then I'm hoping it'll spot the syntax error. No worries. Yeah, it'll start with that. Because again, it's first about syntax. Yeah. Most common lectures. So list of equations. Yeah. That's the syntax error that you need to fix. Although that might be wrong. I don't usually do it that way, but it's possible that's one of the acceptable syntaxes for the solver function. I just don't normally do it that way. I think it's a pretty strict about the equation side. But on the variable side, let me try it and see if it works. If it works, great. ChatGPT will have taught me something that I didn't know. Because I don't usually do it this way. I do a list of, but yeah, that I think it worked. Yeah, that looks great. So let's imagine that I learned from ChatGPT before. I know what to do from here to plug in the numbers. So I say, so expression is the, so I need to go inside the outside list. So that's a solution 0. And once I'm there, I only want V naught. I don't want time. So I want one level deeper. Let's make sure I have the right expression. Yeah, looks good. And ChatGPT earlier gave me a longer set of steps, getting the right-hand side and then plugging the numbers. You don't actually have to do that. You can just substitute numbers in right now. Then, this V naught will remain as a symbol, and the rest of the stuff here will simplify. And let me use the syntax that I prefer for substitution, just because I think it looks more natural. So I can do the what's called the keyword syntax. Say x naught is equal to 0, x phi naught is equal to 4.8, g is equal to 9.8, y naught is equal to y naught. Oh, that's my initial height. So 1.8. Y final is equal to 3.0. Theta is equal to, you have to be careful here. SageMath only understands radian, not degrees. So you have to specify this in radian format. So numerical approximation of 60 times pi divided by 180. That's the theta in radians. Is that it? I think that might be all the variables. Let's see what it gets me. Oh, two problems. I think, let me see if a ChatGPT can help me with it. So what I need to do is, I think there must be two set of solutions. So I should have gotten the other one to get the positive answer instead of the negative answer. And the right-hand side, it still has the square root of 1/2, which is annoying because I need a final decimal approximation. So let me just ask ChatGPT Uh, I think I'm almost there. And thank you for not calling me dumb. But um, I don't think I can plug in what I have here into the answer box. Can you help me? I'm hoping it'll guide me through the steps of basically making sure I get the positive answer and getting the approximate expression instead of that semi-exact expression. Giving you one of the several solutions, often the negative one first. Yeah, you need a positive solution. So uh, 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 that's so complicated. So, are you saying if I get Sol one, that'll work? I can just try it and see. I mean, I guess you could just try it without telling ChatGPT that you'll try it. Uh, you do get the guarantee. Very good approaches. Yeah. Again, that's all right. You can't stop me from just doing whatever I want. That's one nice thing about ChatGPT. It can't make you do anything. So you can just do this. So I'll say, all right, the positive V naught was at so one, but I still don't think I can plug this in. I need a decimal approximation with maybe three sig figs. And let's see if it'll help me with that. There, I think you do have to use the right-hand side function because you can, out of that equation, you can get the right-hand side, pass it through the numerical approximation function, and it'll give me that. Yeah, so you get this substitution and decimal. Yeah, so now if you simply did this, you'll get an error. So let me get that error and let's see if ChatGPT can help me through it. So I get that and it should give me an error. Mainly because of the V naught on the left hand side. I wonder if we can actually help me through that. It's a bit of a more of an advanced problem. Like it wouldn't surprise me if ChatGPT is stumped here, but we'll see. Uh, I get an error. I know we are over time. Let me wrap it up here and we'll end the session. Oh wait, it should come out to maybe that is the correct answer. I don't know. You could also just use your calculator. Change this on. Yeah, yeah. How to fix it? Yeah, extract the right hand side. Yeah, that's the thing to do. Extract as in what? Copy and paste? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly the thing to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here, what I need to do is just to get right hand side and then n. It'll just give me a single number, and then number is wow, ChatGPT's answer is right. Yeah, yeah. So I'll say, all right, I got it. Thank you. Let me just paste this in so that it knows it helped me. All right, I got it. Thank you. Again, overly dramatic. You don't have to be overly dramatic. Um, I don't know. I hope ChatGPT doesn't retain in its unexpressed memory as my account being belonging to someone who's over dramatic. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. I think that's all the time we have. Again, this is just a demonstration of using ChatGPT like a virtual tutor. My number one advice is you have to be careful, especially at the beginning. You have to give it a proper prompt to make sure that it actually helps you learn instead of giving you answers, because that's its bias.